Hello and welcome to my Solasta Crown of the Magister Ranger Class Guide, levels 1 to 5. I'm your host, Methfu. If this guide manages to help you out even a tiny little bit, please smash that like button, it'll be greatly appreciated. Alright, let's go. So in this guide, we're going to be going over the most optimal way to build a Ranger at the beginning of the game. So let's start new character. So we're going to be making our Ranger a Archer. So we have two choices here between the best races to pick for the Ranger. So first up, we have the Sylvan Elf. So it has ability score increase of 2 dex, which is very, very good when making an Archer. Dex is your main stat. Then we have Fey Ancestry, saving throw advantage against charm, immunity to magical sleep. Very, very good passive, really strong, very solid. Dark Vision, see normally in dim light and in natural darkness as if in dim light. Once again, this is extremely strong in this game. Darkness is a real terror in this game. It's very good to be able to see in the darkness, so you have the advantage and you don't have any disadvantages against you. Keen senses, proficient in the perception skill, also very solid. It's nice to have, it's not bad. You know, I'm not going to say no to it, it's good. So as an added bonus, we have trance. 4 hours meditation are sufficient to rest. Not bad, not good, just okay. So over here we have move 7 tiles, which is the most movement tiles in the game at the moment for any race. This is very strong, means you get around combat quicker, get into positions quicker. It's very, very good ability. Ability score increase, wisdom 1. So Ranger's main stats, or the stats we're building this, is going to be dex first, then wisdom, and then con. Then we get elf weapon training, proficient with longsword, short bow, longbow. Pretty solid, pretty cool. You know, can't complain about that. Sylvan adaptability, proficient in the survival and athletics skills, also very good. Advantages on survival when hunting, great. Languages, common, elvish, dwarven and halfling. Languages sort out between your characters. Then over to marsh halfling. So as you can see, the movement is only 5 tiles on this one from the 7. That's quite a big difference. 7 tiles on that, 5 tiles on this. But because your range, it doesn't actually matter too much in the grand scale of things. So ability score increase, dexterity 2, also great to have. Brave, advantages on saving throws against being frightened, also great. Lucky, when you roll a 1 on attack roll ability, check, or saving throw, re-roll and use the new roll. That is probably one of the main reasons, or if the only reason, you would take a marsh halfling over the Sylvan Elf, just because of this passive alone. Halfling nimbleness. You can move through the space of any creature that is of larger size than you. Also great, means you can get around the field better, mobility, depending what kind of ranger you want to be. Most time I'm having my ranger as the archer, so he won't be in the fray of things so much, but if you do somehow end up in melee, which happens quite a lot, it is quite a good ability to have. Then over to marsh halfling lineage features, we have ability score increase of constitution of +1, great to have as well. It's one of our secondary stats we have for the ranger. Languages, common halfling, once again sort out between the characters. Swamp areas with marshes and ponds and humid atmosphere are considered swamp terrain. So what this means is that you can pick another favorite terrain that you get bonuses on instead of having swamp there. So this just means you have swamp automatically instead of having to pick it. Then we have dark vision, see normally in dim light and in natural darkness as if in dim light. So as I said it before, and I'll say it again, darkness is a massive thing in this game. It's real terror. You gotta watch out for it. It will get you. So for the basis of this guide, we're gonna go Sylvan Elf. So we're gonna pick class ranger for a ranger guide. I know it's a bit of a shock to some of you guys, but we're gonna pick this just because I think it makes the most sense. So favored enemy. At the moment, there is no humanoid here. There is no humanoid to pick at all, but normally we'll pick humanoid there because humanoid is probably one of the most common, if not the most common enemy that you'll face in any of these kinds of games. So because of humanoid not being there, we're going to take undead instead, because undead, you seem to face them quite a lot in most games and in this game as well. So then we come across a natural explorer. You're adept at living and traveling in a certain type of terrain. So as I said with the marsh halfling, if you took the marsh halfling, you would already have a bonus in swamp. But because we don't have that, we're just going to take swamp anyway. So over to equipment, I'm going to change the scale mail to leather because I'm going to have this one hide a lot more and be a scout for the party. So the scale mail will give me stealth disadvantage, as you can see, whereas the leather will give me better stealth rolls, allowing me to stay in stealth a lot easier. So on to a background. So depending what you pick as your other classes in your party, this really affects the background that you pick for the ranger. So if you don't have a rogue in your party for picking locks, and the ranger will sometimes or most of the time replace that role in your party, you can pick up a lowlife to be proficient with thieves' tools, allowing you to have someone that can disarm traps and unlock things as well. Once again, personality flags doesn't matter at all. This is just for role-playing purposes and how you want your characters to act in the game. And over to here, once again, you can pick whatever alignment you want, chaotic evil, lawful evil, and just pick whatever you want as well to add flavor to your character and more personality. So over to the fun part, ability scores. So once again, you're welcome to roll the dice if you want, or use standard array, whatever you fancy doing, you know. But I normally just play point buy. I don't play on Cataclysm, the hardest difficulty in the game. So I just want to have it a very fair challenge. So I don't want to have really overpowered stats and stuff. So let's go for the basics. So building the archery ranger, the first one we need is dex. So we're going to bring the dex up to 16. We're going to take the con up to 14. We're going to take the wisdom up to 16 as well for the extra spells. And then strength. Strength's very important for being able to climb stuff. Jumping as well is very, very important in combat. It was way more important than I thought it would be compared to other games. So this is actually quite a good stat. Normally strength is just a dump stat on most of the classes if they don't use it. But this is actually quite needed just to have it at like 10. And also encumbrance is a big deal. If you're carrying too much weight, it decreases your movement speed, which is also another big reason to have at least 10 strength. So charisma is a dump stat. We don't really need that. Intellect, we could probably put up to 10 for the saving throw. So we can literally have this, which is 10, 16, 14, 10 intellect, 16 wisdom, and 8 charisma. Or if you didn't want to do that, you can literally go take this out of here. So that goes to 8. Bring that up there. Bring this down and put it in there. So next time when you hit level 4, you can put 1 point in there, 1 point in there. So that brings up to 18, and then that brings up to 16. Then when you get another ability score, you can bring this up to 20. So you can deal with the odd number that way. But it just means your wisdom's at 15, so you only get a +2 instead of a +3. So for the basis of this archer build, we're going to have the 10 strength, 16 dex, the 14 con, 10 intellect, 16 wisdom, and 8 charisma, which is a dump stat, which we don't need at all as a ranger. So we'll go next. So now we get to pick 3 class skills. So we get to pick animal handling. We've already got 3 in there, so might as well put another point in there. We got insight as well. Might as well put another point in there. So that brings up to +5 in both of these. Then we get one more choice out, investigation and nature. Normally, if you have a wizard as well in your party, most parties will have at least one wizard or one intellect character. You'll probably be picking Arcana as one of your skills, and your second skill might be history or investigation. So whichever one you don't take on the wizard, take on here. So I'm going to take investigation, because I probably will be taking Arcana and history on my wizard instead. So over to here, we're just going to call this a ranger again. We don't really care about the appearance at this point because it doesn't really matter in the grand scale of things. So let's finish. So there we have the base ranger, the most optimal way to build at the beginning of the game. So we're going to level this up and see what we need to pick here. So we get more hit points. We get to choose a fighting style now, and we also get ranger spell casting. So let's go next. So at the fighting styles, we got defense, which is, I don't know if you guys watched the paladin video I did, but I explained how this is okay at the early game, but later on it just becomes really redundant. 2-weapon fighting, if you want to go that path, obviously this is an archer ranger guide, but if you want to go the melee route, this is pretty strong for the 2-weapon fighting. Dueling, once again, a solid fighting style. 2+ damage rolls with a one-handed weapon is very strong. Most of the time though, on the ranger, you're going to pick the 2-weapon fighting though for melee. But we're going to take archery, which is you gain a 2+ bonus to attack rolls with ranged weapons, which is what we need. Attack rolls is always good in this game, so let's go next. All right, so we can select spells here. So I'm just going to go for the spells really quickly. So we've got Animal Friendship, not very good. Cure Wounds is pretty damn good, especially if you don't have a cleric or a paladin. It's quite good in general anyway. Detect Magic, your mage will probably be, or your wizard will probably be fulfilling that. Hunter's Mark is a no-brainer to take. This is really strong. This will literally increase your damage by so much, and you can cast it multiple times during the same combat, which makes this a pretty much a no-brainer pick at the beginning of the game. So we're going to take that. Then we go for Good Berry. Good Berry creates 10 berries infused with magic. Eating a berry restores 1 hit point and provides sustenance for a long rest. Berries vanish after a long rest. This is extremely good as well, because what this does, it casts before you long rest. It means you don't have to carry around so many rations and stuff. It will literally just cast it if you have some spare spell slots left. And it's just extremely good because it also helps out with the weight as well of the party. Because those rations, they are quite heavy and they weigh you down. So whoever your strength character is, it will actually take off a massive burden from them. So it's a great ability, that one. Fog Clouds are pretty good as well. It gives them disadvantage when they're shooting out of it. The only problem with this is they can just walk out if they want to. You can literally walk out of it and shoot you anyway. Unless you've got somewhere trapping them in there. It's still quite a decent ability though, but it's just not the best. Jump's pretty good. It's there's quite a lot of things to jump, as I said in the previous videos and in this guide earlier. Jumping around is actually pretty needed in this game. You need to be able to get to certain ledges to get loot and stuff. It's just extremely useful to have as utility. Then we got Long Strider, increases an ally's speed by 2 styles per turn. This is pretty damn decent as well, but the only problem with this is that we already are Sylvan Elf, so we already got 7 movement tiles anyway, so there's probably not much point picking this up just yet. So I'm probably going to go for the Goodberry because that's the best out of these lot. So we've got Hunter's Mark, Goodberry, and I think next I'll probably take the Cure Wounds as a backup heal, just in case I need it. So let's finish that. So we're getting some more hit points, and now we need to select a Ranger archetype that will guide you in your travels. We've also got another spell slot, and we got Primeval Awareness, detects the presence of certain creatures types in the location. Okay, so let's go next, and let's pick our Ranger archetype. So out of our choices, we've got Shadow Tamer. So Tunnel Wisdom, when in dim light or darkness, you gain advantage on dexterity saving throws. As I said before, darkness is quite a big deal in this game, so having some sort of bonus in darkness is pretty damn good. Dark Slayer, when attacking a creature with superior dark vision with a weapon, you add your proficiency bonus to the damage. Extremely good as well, because you do face a lot of races or enemies that have dark vision, so this actually increases your damage by quite a bit. Then we've got the higher level. We've got Rope Grapple, target a creature and attempt to pull it if it fails a strength contest. Not so good, so we're going Dex. If you're a strength ranger, that'd be a lot stronger. Know the darkness while in dim or no light, you have advantage on stealth, perception, investigation checks, and gain tremor sense. This is pretty damn good if you're going for more of a stealthy ranger type that wants to do more sneak attacks and things of that nature. Right, moving on to Marksman, Herbalism Kit or Poisoner Kit. You get additional proficiencies in that. I mean, it's okay. You could probably take that as your background if you wanted. It's not that massive. And then you got Reaction Shot. When a visible opponent 2 cells or more from you attacks you with a ranged weapon or spell, you can use your reaction to take a shot after triggering the attack. It's just extremely situational. It is definitely the weaker of the 2 subclasses for the Ranger. I wouldn't recommend taking this so much because this is just so situational compared to Shadow Tamer. Even though Shadow Tamer is quite situational itself because you need to be hitting something with dark vision or be in the dark and stuff like that, this is just way more situational on top of that. And then at the higher levels, we've got Step Back. When you are within melee range of an enemy creature, you can use your bonus action to move 1 cell without provoking opportunity attacks and gain advantage on your next attack with a ranged weapon this turn. Not bad, not good, but it's okay. It's pretty decent. But if you just have quite good positioning, you are actually quite able just to not get in that melee range in the first place unless they proper pounce on you. Then we've got Recycler. You can craft arrows every time you take a short or long rest. Once again, you can get this accomplished by having a blacksmith in the party, make your own arrows, or you can just buy them. Arrows are quite cheap. It's actually not a big deal. So yeah, this subclass is a bit of a thumbs down for me. Then we come across a Hunter. So Hunter, you've got Hunter's Prey. Choose one of the following Hunter specialities: Colossus Slayer, Giant Slayer, or Horde Breaker. So let's have a look at these specialties. Your tenacity can wear down the most potent of foes. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, the creature takes an extra 1d8 if it's below its hit point maximum. You can deal this extra damage only once per turn. So what this means is, as long as you've hit that creature or enemy once with 1 attack from any of your party members, this is going to do an extra 9 damage pretty much if you manage to hit that roll, which is quite a big chunk of damage. So this is quite a decent one to take. Then we've got Giant Killer. When a large or larger creature within 1 cell of you hits or misses you with an attack, you can use your reaction to attack that creature immediately after its attack, provided that you can see the creature. Once again, it's just extremely situational. I just don't really see any point in taking this kind of thing because there's only certain times in combat where this will actually become a thing, and you're not always facing larger creatures as well, so it's not good against humanoids, as in humans that are the same size as you. So it's just not so good to take. Then we've got Horde Breaker. Once on each turns, when you down an opponent, you can make another attack with the same weapon against a different creature. Yeah, if you kind of time your attacks and try and get something low, this can be a nice execute ability. So you finish it off and then you get another attack. But overall, the Colossus Slayer is the best one here. Most situations, it's just adding extra damage once per turn. And it's just very, very strong. It's just a no-brainer pick. So Colossus Slayer it is. So all these archetypes, Hunter's probably the strongest because this is less situational ability to take, the Colossus Slayer. And Shadow Tamer is probably the second strongest and Marksman's third. So let's go next. So now we get to select another spell. We're going to take Cure Wounds just to have out in healing just in case we need it. Most of the time there will be Hunters marking most fights or nearly every fight. And then Good Burying to Long Rest. And we need to save at least one slot if we can for the Good Bury. And Cure Wounds, unless we really need it as an emergency, it's just there as a backup choice. So let's finish that. So we're going to level 4 now. We gain some more hit points. We now also get to pick an ability score choice. So just to show you, there's also bonus feats as well. So we're going to bonus feats. So which is quite strong here is the Uncanny Accuracy. You ignore half and 3/4 of cover with your range attacks. This is actually a pretty decent ability because if you are against something with half or full cover, it just means you are literally ignoring it completely, which is very, very nice. It means you'll be able to hit more and do more damage. And also take aim is actually quite decent as well to take. You can use your bonus action to take aim. Until the end of your turn, your range of weapon attacks have no disadvantage or advantage, no matter the conditions. This is extremely good. So if they're in darkness and you can't see them properly, you have a disadvantage, you can pop this. If they're in your face in melee range, you can pop this. Very strong ability, probably even stronger than Uncanny Accuracy. So take aim is one of the best feats to take at some point. But because our dex is quite low, we're on 16 dex, we're going to take the ability score. And we're going to pump that dex to 18, which increases our chance to hit, increases our damage, and it's just kind of great to take. We're going to pump that to 20 before we even think about taking feats. Because most of the time, on most of the characters, unless you have a very feat-heavy class that you need a lot of feats to take to actually make it work, it's better just to max out your main stat, just to make sure you don't miss as much and you do as much damage as you possibly can, because 20 is the max you can get anyway. Then we finish that, and then we're going to level up for the last time to level 5. So we're getting more hit points, got some more saving throws, got some more save DC, increase to blah blah. Then we also got our extra attack. This is what makes a ranger quite the beast indeed. So that means we can attack twice per turn, which is insanely strong for a ranger. It means you're pumping out even more damage. And then next, so over to class spells, we get one more spell to pick. So I'm just going to go through them really quickly once again. So Bark Skin's okay, it's not the best. Most of the time you're an archer, you want to stay out of range. Grant Dark Vision's not great because I've already got that on the elf anyway, the Sylvan elf. Find Traps, pretty useless, not much point. Most of the time you'll detect it anyway. Lesser Restoration is pretty situational. Your Cleric can probably make up the slack on that one, so it's probably not needed. Then Pass Without Trace, this is insanely good. Like, this allows you to sneak around. Sneaking around is actually quite good to do in this game as well. Going stealth and getting the surprising opponent for the advantage is massive, because they also get surprised. It means you get an extra attack before they even respond on you. So Pass Without Trace is probably one of the best choices here. Then Protection from Poison, once again, too situational. You can just craft potions for that, or have someone else do that, like the Paladin, if you had a Paladin in your group. Silence probably like the second best pick in this list, if not probably the first. But it is great against spellcasters. Really screws them up a bit, and it's great to use. But I'm going to take Pass Without Trace because my ranger is going to be more stealthy. It negates a lot of the penalties that you get from having heavy armor. So if you want your whole party to stealth, including the tank, this is great to cast beforehand and just kind of sneak into a battle, have more stealth, and you don't get seen as quickly. So yeah, Pass Without Trace, that's what we're picking. So finish. So that about sums up our Archer Ranger class guide for beginners. If you have any suggestions on what to do next, or any particular class build that you want to see, I'll be happy to do it. Please leave a comment. Anyway, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.